Hey guys, so we've run into an interesting query quite recently. So a customer wanted a mobile workstation and two-in-one design. So they wanted a touchscreen and also the mobile professional workstation level graphics. We looked around and surprisingly, there's not that many options. We came down to the Dell Precision 5530 two-in-one and this HP model. This HP Studio, so as you can see, it's quite thin and light laptop. Same design language as the other G5 ZBooks. And we'll quickly close the lid and take a look. So as you can see, it you can bend it backwards into a tablet mode. So it's really quite cool design. Let's take a look at the outside. So we can look on the side, as you can see, two USB ports on the left lock slot, so SIMS tray. On the right, two Thunderbolt and HDMI, so SD card as well, audio jack. It's quite basic ports on a workstation. So if you look at the design of this specific model, so it's because it's so thin and light, it gives the impression it's probably more likely to be used in an office rather than outdoors in a more rugged environment. So perhaps in the indoor environment where there's abundance of Wi-Fi, you may not actually need the Ethernet as much, and Ethernet adapters these days is easy to find. On the inside, so we just look at the keyboard. It's a typical workstation level spill resistant keypad. Obviously don't pour water on it, it's just accidental if and when. So the keyboard, it feels quite nice, plenty of travel. And some people will prefer this HP keyboard. I think from the third generation upwards, this is definitely an improvement, because if you think of the third gen, the travel was okay, but it just felt like there wasn't as much response. Could definitely do with a little bit more tactile feedback, but I think it's quite decent for a thin and light laptop. In terms of the display, you've got 5 min options. In some markets, there are probably more, but at the absolute top end, there are two Dream Color 4K displays. Just below that, there's one standard 4K display, slightly less color gamut. Beneath that, there is a standard Full HD screen. What we have is actually quite a rare display, so if you can look from the side, if I press a button, you can see the display has suddenly changed. So if we look from the side, I've enabled the privacy option. So this is HP's Sure View. So this is privacy mode on and privacy mode off. As you can see, it's quite cool to have it on the workstation. I know on the EliteBooks you have this option. It's good to see it in the ZBook. Some comments online will probably say that if you opt for the privacy display option, then you certainly should consider using it. It's just, I think, when it's not applied, people suggest that the display quality is perhaps not as good as some of the top-end one due to the privacy technology. But I think in terms of what I can see here, I can't really see that much difference. Viewing angle vertically, it seems to be decent. The viewing angle from the side, also decent. Obviously, it's probably not going to be as good as normal Full HD IPS display, but I think it's quite decent. It's more to give you the option. Privacy screen is 650 nits. That display brightness cuts off quite a bit when you have the privacy filter on. Definitely a really cool screen. What many people might find useful if they're really into the graphics is have a look at the Dream Color 4K matte screen. So that one is not going to be as reflective. Although this one's really bright in the outdoors, you might notice some of the reflections. See my hands being reflected from this angle at the keyboard as well. Yeah, you can see that. With matte display, it's going to be much lesser issue. The processor options, you have the Core i7, the usual options, and 2 RAM slots. You can go up to 64 gig, so that's plenty of RAM. On some of the ZBooks, can go up to 128 with the 4 slots. Really up to you. So 64 for plenty of people is enough, but obviously if you want more, there's other models that can help to get you there. And then there might be a balance of how much stuff you want to do on a laptop and how much you want to do on, for instance, if you have a min desktop workstation, how much you want to do there. So I think one of the ways to look at this would be a good workstation laptop in addition to a min desktop workstation. So this particular unit has Quadro P2000. The option starts at P1000, and P2000 is quite a decent option to have from day one. It's a little bit below the 1060 equivalent graphics. I think it's quite decent. You can, obviously for the Wi-Fi, you can get the 4G chip in addition, and I think there are two M2 slots and one 2.5-inch slots inside. The processor, I think it depends on what you do, obviously, and I think any decent Core i7 should be good enough. The audio is quite a bit of an improvement over the HP ZBook G3. With the internal speakers, the bass seems to be more present than the last generation. Over time, you see the HP and Bang & Olufsen partnership gradually helping to make HP's speaker better for a laptop. Obviously, it's not quite good as a desktop speakers, but it's better than the generation before. It cracks, distorts less than before. See if you can hear a little bit of the. So a pleasant surprise. On the other G5s and G6 laptops, their speakers have improved. Looking around at this laptop again, so what it's going to be really useful is in the office environment where occasionally you might need to showcase your work to clients. And for instance, if you don't want to carry an iPad, or if you think that the iPad may look not as professional as something like a workstation, or if you can't edit as much, then this is a really cool option. In terms of something that is 2-in-1 and has this professional graphics, there's actually not many other options. So if you think of the X1P1 on ThinkPad, they're not really some 2-in-1 design, if that makes sense. So that rules out Lenovo for now. They do have the Yoga, but that doesn't have the professional graphics. The Dell 5530, it's discontinued that specific model, so it will be interesting to see if they can put NVIDIA graphics back into the next generation. So that's going to be interesting. I think if you want a 2-in-1, if it has to be a mobile workstation, this is probably a very decent bet. We hope that this helps. If there's any particular question, just let us know. We'll be happy to help.